Camper Van Beethoven and Cracker will be performing over at Hotel Congress tonight. Doors are at 7 o'clock. Joining us live in Studio 2A now is David Lowry and Johnny Hickman. Take it away, guys.
Is it such a sin to linger with the magazines? I want a chocolate bar, or maybe something sweet. I want a stranger with your face, so I followed her to this place. It's been so long, I've been around the world. I say hello to Howie, say hello to Spike, 'cause the canals in Camden, they're filled with bottles tonight. I'm with there to watch the ripples fade away, to feel the rain upon my head, and so I could say I've been around the world. How I wish I was in your apartment tonight, to hear the rain come down upon your roof, to see you close beside your bed, to lie and listen to your breath. Instead of I've been around the world. I was in your bed tonight, to taste the salt upon your neck, to feel your body press it down on me. Instead of I've been around the world. Yeah, I've been around the world. Yeah, I've been around the world. Thank you, Johnny.
91.3 KXCI Tucson, Real People, Real Radio. We're live in Studio 2A with David Lowry and Johnny Hickman. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining us here. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Sure, no problem. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you guys again.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you was in St. Louis, where you were doing the Cracker Camper thing at
the big place.
the big place, the pageant.
The pageant.
Good memory. Oof, I'm getting old. Yeah, so that was an incredible show, and again tonight, Cracker and Camper Van Beethoven will be performing at Club Congress.
Yeah.
So are you? I'm trying to think. So it was maybe about a year ago that I saw you. Have you been doing sort of stops here and there, or have you been on one big tour?
No, we just sort of I think last time you saw us, we were just sort of doing a few one-offs. We've been sort of going out for about a week every month promoting this Camper Van Beethoven record, but we definitely aren't doing like the 8-month world tours like we used to. It's not really that fun. I enjoy coming to Tucson and playing. I can live without the Monday nights in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Or for example, don't mean specifically Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah. How long have you guys been doing this?
Camper Van Beethoven's been doing this 30 years. Actually, it was actually 30 years Saturday.
Wow.
And Cracker's been doing this 22
That's
years.
Insane.
Yeah.
I think, and it's still, you guys, to me, are like kids.
Our tour manager wasn't even born when we started playing. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think it's important to acknowledge how long you guys have been doing this, because you seem like well-rehearsed, really talented, wise kids when you play. And
I'm glad we seem like that, because we're not really, but I'm glad we seem like that.
But you do, and I think that one of the things, especially with the latest release from Camper with La Costa Perdida, like really youthful feeling songs. Like,
oh, well, thank you.
So I do feel that. I feel, and Johnny, the way you play, you're like kids.
Oh, well, thank you.
So I think it's really terrific. You were saying, you're still a college band.
Yeah. But where did we play? We played at in Davis, California, where one of the University of California's is, or whatever like that. And I looked at the audience and go, "We're still a college band, man, a college professor band."
Yeah, the PhD crowd, right?
Yeah, the crowd laughed.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
And it was fairly true. But no, we have this weird thing where there's two generations now, especially with Camper. There's like a generation of teenagers who were turned on to us by their parents.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
Well, and little kids. I had, I think, and I'll try and show you after we get off the air, this little girl who was singing Northern California Girls. And Rusty knows how old she is. She's 4 years old.
Yeah, okay.
And it's so adorable. And that's one of the songs off of the Camper record that we've been playing a lot. And she just loves the chorus. And so just for me to see a 4-year-old, getting off on good music is awesome.
It's cool. And then, Cracker's in Perks of a Wallflower, which are the perks of being a wallflower.
Yeah.
Right? That's the name of it. And that's actually sort of done this weird thing with like college kids coming to our shows and stuff again. So
that's awesome.
It's been the last couple years have been very strange and interesting. So.
Yeah. I think too, though, one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about is talk about what a diverse career you guys have had with both bands. So, Camper, I think, again, was a really big college band. Then Cracker came out and really became a radio band.
An alternative, rock band. Well, what's interesting about that? Here's exactly kind of how that happened. Because really, when you look at the first Cracker record, that was the height of grunge and modern rock like broke through. Yeah. But that's a country rock album, and pretty much so is the second album too.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of weird that those were even successes when they came out. It's just that I guess like Low was sort of grungy enough to fit that alternative sort of thing, and we always have had the punk rock side, but we've always been more like X, like mixing punk and country, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of odd that we had that success, but
what year did Teen Angst come out?
1992.
So 92. So that was
and I think we were up for best album with Nevermind.
Well,
so for best new album, new artist with Nirvana's Nevermind for one of the awards, and we were like, you know what, we're not even going to go.
Well, I think what's so interesting is that
pretty funny.
I was going to say, that's right around the time that I got into radio. And so I started at a country station, then quickly went to an alternative station where you could still choose your own music. So right around that time in 92 was when DJs could choose their own music. They weren't reliant on a music director per se. Maybe the music director was guiding.
Well, that had to do with there's some government background in that. That was before when you could only own a limited number of radio stations and only like 2 in every market.
Right.
So radio was was a much more diverse market sort of place.
And then in about 95, music directors started taking over and controlling several markets. And then I specifically remember because where I was, we were playing you guys and Nirvana and maybe some Ben Folds and maybe some Garbage, right? A little bit towards the mid-90s. And then I specifically remember the first time I heard Korn. And then seeing it on that's when the playlists came out. And Korn, Marilyn Manson, and I was just like, wow, how did we get from Teen Angst to Cookie Monster rock? You know? It was like, blew my mind.
We call it Chewy Nougat Rocks.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me about other projects that David, I know you've got some solo records, and Johnny, tell me what you guys have been working on along with Camper.
I
and
had
Cracker.
a solo record like 2 years ago. We basically put out an album every year from the family of Cracker and Camper Van Beethoven. And so either it's somebody's solo album or it's a Cracker album or it's a Camper Van Beethoven album. So I guess this Camper album is the newest, and then Johnny's solo album is the
Tilting,
next
which came out
one.
last year.
Yeah.
And the year before that was my solo album.
We keep
and
busy.
then we had a Cracker album the year before that. So it's just...
So who's up next? Whose turn is it next?
it should be Cracker.
Yeah.
It was,
Once when we go, hey, we should make a record.
yeah.
Yeah. And do you still make the records in Richmond?
Our last record we actually did in Athens, Georgia, and it was kind of nice to actually make an album not in our own studio, not where you're like playing, you're singing a vocal and you're like going, oh damn man, the roof's leaking in the back, and there's like a tropical storm coming. Who am I going to call that I can get down here to fix this? Oh wait, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
So I sort of discovered the joy of recording in other people's studios.
Yeah.
Again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so, Johnny, when you're at home, do you demo stuff at home there?
Yeah, demo stuff there, and I have a country band and with Jim Dalton from the Railbenders, who also plays with Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers. We have a country band called the Hickman Dalton Gang. It's very Johnny Cash style, Bakersfield-y kind of
awesome,
hard country kind of trip. And so, yeah, that's a lot of fun.
At this point, what do you think your favorite part is? Do you like the writing? You like the recording? I've heard you don't love the touring so much, but like,
I
I
love touring about 40 or 60 shows a year probably, but not like, I'm really glad we don't do like back when, I don't know if people know this, but you actually used to be work for us.
Yeah.
And we were probably doing like 150 shows a year or something about that time.
That was in the early 2000s.
In the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And we did that for a really long time. We had been doing that in the early 2000s. We'd been doing it for 15 years with Camper Van Beethoven and Cracker.
Yeah, and then I came on the first time as a first-time manager and had to learn how to make tour books and backstage passes.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
Yeah. And know the secret phrases.
Yeah.
Right. The weirdo fans in the dressing room. How to get them out.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Stalkers.
Well, and I got on the tour bus. I remember the first night here after a show here at Congress, and we went to LA, and I think you guys were playing Craig who was on the air back then, like a late night?
Yeah, it's probably Craig
Kilborn?
Yeah,
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, and it was funny because I was thinking earlier, I wonder what memories I remember, and I wonder what you guys remember, because it was some amazing times back then, and it was just, I think, really, really cool experience for me to be a part of, especially after having listened to your music for so long and then having an opportunity to get to know you as people. Yeah. What would you say to your younger selves now?
To dress better on stage.
Okay.
People didn't always bring cameras to shows, you know, and then like at some point, like everybody started bringing cameras to shows, and then you sort of figured out with MySpace, you're like, whoa, man, I need to think about what I'm wearing when I'm going on stage, you know, now. So now you do everything on stage, assuming it's going to show up on the internets.
Yeah.
We should just before the show's over.
Yeah, right.
Before the song's over.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Right.
I've seen it.
People are watching and already know
ill-advised
what question I'm gonna say next.
hairstyles.
Yeah.
Why am I wearing that? Where did that shirt come from?
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, again, the show is tonight over at Hotel Congress, and it's Camper Van Beethoven and Cracker. And I just want to thank you guys for coming in and taking the time. And
Our pleasure, Kathy.
one of the things I want to mention out there for our listeners who are unaware is that both of you are very big advocates in talking about how musicians get paid and informing people. And one of the reasons Craig Schumacher, owner of Wave Lab, was in yesterday, and we mentioned you guys because you are in the forefront of this discussion. And I think what's really important is that a lot of people don't know. I have a friend who's a lawyer, and he was at a show recently, and he went up to the merch table, and the merch person said, "Would you like to purchase the album?" And he said, "Well, no, I've got Spotify." And I only bring this up because literally he had no idea. He had no idea that that
Spotify
concept.
is incredibly complicated because not everybody gets paid the same. The record labels also actually own it, and it really is highly dependent on what your deal is with your label. Whereas my thing with Pandora the other day, that actually is a compulsory license whereby the government gives. I mean, it's one thing like a public radio station to have a compulsory license to play music because it's in the public good, but like a for-profit web company to have a compulsory license, being allowed to play your music and then compensate you in this minuscule way is pretty crazy. So and you know, the important thing about this is, like, look, we've made 95% of the money we're ever going to make in the music business off of record royalties, you know, because I'm 50, I'll be 53 this September, right? We've made 95% of the money. We're not actually talking about our money. My kids have a band now. I teach a class at University of Georgia. There's tons of kids in those classes. These people don't know that they're being ripped off. So that's what, like, a lot of us, like, you know, East Bay Ray's another outspoken person from the Dead Kennedys, and that's what we're trying to say is, like, hey, you guys have got it much worse than we had it when we were coming up. So
excellent.
Trying to look out for you.
And I think that's great. And I want to thank you for that. And I want to make people aware of it. And that's that they can find out more by finding you on Facebook, going to your website, finding out more about the bands, both bands, Cracker and Camper Van Beethoven. You guys deserve so much more big, giant credit than you've ever gotten. But a lot of that is because of commercial radio and the way it works. And I know our listeners and our fans are your fans. And so I really want to thank you for taking the time to come in.
Sure. Thank you. So to close this out, we're going to play a song that I wrote in Tucson. It's called Merry Christmas, Emily. My grandparents moved to Indio, California from Arkansas when we were really little. And so we would spend every Christmas, like, and it would be like 85 degrees and stuff like that. So I was actually here in Tucson, and I wrote this song in Tucson, which is about having Christmas in Tucson. We haven't played it. We only ever play this at Christmas, so hopefully I can do this. Merry Christmas, Emily. Emily, she was 23, sitting on the ground under a dead palm tree, 6th Speedway on Christmas Day. It seemed like things were gonna go my way. And we had some good times, drinking cheap wine and popping pills, spending the holidays getting drunk at the Rusty Nail. And then there's Emily from a good family. They messed up your head and they sent you to me. It's a wonderful life playing on the TV. I still think about you. Do you still think about me? Merry Christmas, Emily. Merry Christmas, Emily. I still think about you. Do you still think about me? Merry Christmas, Emily. Merry Christmas, Emily. It might have seemed that I was down and out, but my insurance claim was still paying out. You were headed back up while I was going down, so I reformed the band to try to keep you around. Then we had some bad times,
drinking cheap wine in the summer heat. A couple loud arguments standing in the middle of Congress Street. And then there's Emily under that dead palm tree. It's Christmas Day and it's like 80 degrees. I still think about you. Do you still think about me? Merry Christmas, Emily. Merry Christmas, Emily. I still think about you. Do you still think about me? Merry Christmas, Emily. Merry Christmas, Emily. Merry Christmas, Emily. I still think about you. Do you still think about me? Merry Christmas, Emily.
91.3 KXCI Tucson. Real people, real radio.
I went to look for that palm tree. It's not there, though.
I went to class, but
Okay.
I didn't know whether we were out here or not.
What about Emily?